Sarah was feeling very uptight. She hated the rain. It made her feel anxious and full of dread. She even hated the shower, as it reminded her of rain. The feeling of water on her skin might as well have just been sharp glass pouring onto her skin, cutting her. The pain felt the same. Jason was walking down a creepy, dark, lonesome road where the trees were so high and overlapping across the road it was even dark looking in the day. But it wasn't the darkness unsettled him. It was the feeling of the rain dripping off his hair onto his shoulders made him shiver in fear. He ran down the road to get home faster and in out of the rain. Lisa pulled up in her driveway and stepped out of her car. She dreaded making the short few steps in the rain. She knew most people, of course, wouldn't be afraid of getting wet, but every time it rained, she felt petrified. Jack was going for his jog when it suddenly started to rain heavy. He was 10 minutes from his house, so he began to sprint home. He had a huge irrational fear of the rain. He was panting and out of breath by the time he got home, and was relieved once he had his house door shut behind him and he was in from the rain. Mike was finished football practice and startled the other players when he freaked out on the football field. Once a heavy rain shower began, he just lost it. His friends looked, laughing, and one of the boys said, "It's only rain. It's not going to kill you." It was a rainy night, and it was the high school reunion, and everyone was enjoying themselves, except 5 people who were reluctant to even come along at all. Those 5 people were Sarah, Jason, Lisa, Jack, and Mike. They all were called into a room that had a barrel with water in it. Mike stood in the middle and Martin, the school bully, was sitting on a chair tied to it with a cloth wrapped around his mouth. When everyone was in the room, Mike walked over and locked the door, then turned back to Martin and said, "Do you remember all the times you used to drop us into a barrel of water in the back of the school and at house parties? Where did you even get the water to put in the barrel to torture us? Do you realize the embarrassment and humiliation you put us through?" Mike pulled the cloth from Martin's mouth and he started pleading, "For God's sake, we were just kids. I'm sorry, okay?" Mike and Jack dragged him and held him over the barrel water and lowered him into it. The others looked on in horror, shouting to them pull him out, and that was enough. When Mike and Jack finally pulled him out of the water, they noticed he wasn't breathing. He had drowned to death within the first few seconds in the water. They have never spoken about what had happened on the night of the reunion to anyone outside of that room, and no one suspected them as the body was discovered in the pool the next day, and the police had it down as an accidental drowning. Mike was the one who hid the body and dumped it in the pool when he got a chance. Sarah, Jason, Lisa, Jack, and Mike all took steps towards finding out how to deal with their irrational fear of rain. They didn't realize they all shared the same fear. The doctors and psychiatrists assigned to each person had no clear idea of why they had the fear, and it was made harder for them to not know what had happened to them when they didn't even know what happened during school and during that unforgettable night at the high school reunion. After all, how would anyone know why they had a fear of rain when they did not know what had happened to them and what had happened to me? After all, Who would be able to put everything together that I am haunting my killers each and every time it rains?
There were 4 random strangers chosen to share in a prize of $100,000 if any one of them solved the puzzle. It started with a simple phone call. Sarah was in her office when she got the call. "Hello, this is a genuine request. You're under no obligation to say yes, but you and 3 other people are invited to take part in a puzzle. If you or any of the rest of the participants solve the puzzle, ye will all share in the prize of $100,000. That's giving ye all exactly $25,000 each. That is a nice payback for just a few minutes' work. If you would like to participate, then all you have to do is arrive at Madison Hotel on Grove Street at 6 p.m. this evening. There is an elevator on the ground floor. Just wait outside that elevator for the door to open. Then please enter with the rest of the participants. You will all know that ye are there for the puzzle, don't worry." The same phone call arrived for Jack, who was in the gym working out. Tony got his call while out walking, and Mary got her call while watching TV. They all agreed to take part in the puzzle. That evening at 6 p.m, they were all waiting outside the elevator, waiting for it to open, excited with the chance of pocketing $25,000 each if any of them solved the puzzle. Suddenly the elevator doors opened, and they all stepped inside. The elevator started going up, and a voice came through the speaker. "Hello, player. Thank you very much for taking part in this puzzle that enables you to have a chance of winning $25,000 each. The question to the puzzle is simple. The floors of this hotel have various occupants at different times. Sometimes, but other times not as much. But what button in this elevator is pressed the most? If you can't answer by the time we reach the top floor, you will be shown the answer on the display in the elevator, but unfortunately you will lose out in the money. This is the most important rule. If you give a wrong answer, you will all lose the game. Good luck." The elevator started going up to the top floor. Everyone started talking about it, trying to solve the puzzle. It sounded so complicated, especially when there were different numbers of people staying in different floors at different times. Everyone knew there was 15 floors in the hotel, so Sarah shouted first floor before it hit 15. They all hoped the answer was right. Then suddenly the voice came back and said, "I am very sorry. You were very close, but the answer is ground floor, because everyone has to go to the ground floor. As promised, we will show you the answer, which is everyone has to go to the ground floor." Suddenly the elevator made a bang and started falling faster and faster, and everyone in it started screaming until it crashed to the floor, and they were all killed. Thanks for watching The Assassin Rapper, and if you want to stay up to date on new content, then please subscribe and be sure to hit the bell to be notified on new content. It was Thanksgiving in Kevin's household, and his cousin Sam and Dad Mark were visiting for Thanksgiving dinner. They were talking before the plates were ready to be put on the table and them start eating. Sam was talking about his dad and his keen interest in spiders. Sam said, "My dad has loads of different spiders, and did you know that each year when we are asleep, there are lots of different spiders crawl into our mouths during our sleep?" Kevin said, "Don't say something so stupid and which isn't true. We are going to be eating dinner soon. We don't want to hear you lie about spiders crawling into our mouth. That is disgusting, and of course it isn't true." Sam got angry and said to his dad, "Dad, tell him it's true. Tell him that spiders do crawl into people's mouths when they are asleep." His dad said, "Son, that isn't exactly the topic of conversation we want to be having at Thanksgiving dinner." That night, Kevin went to bed early, while Sam was sleeping in the spare room. Kevin wasn't in the mood to play video games with Sam, as he found him annoying. He quickly fell asleep, but suddenly he awoke from his sleep in the middle of the night. He panicked when he realized he couldn't hardly breathe. He noticed there was something tied around his face, and he struggled to get it off, but luckily it did fast. But when it did, he froze in horror when spiders crawled out of his mouth. Sam was looking in from the door because he couldn't miss the prank he pulled on him, but suddenly he felt kind of sick. Within minutes he dropped to the ground after being bitten by a poisonous spider while putting them in Kevin's mouth. Kevin suddenly felt sick also, and they both died from spider poisoning from spiders Sam had stolen from his dad's bedroom, not knowing that one of them was a poisonous spider. Thanks for watching The Assassin Rapper, and if you enjoy the content, then make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of new content.